Hey guys, Kerry Smith here again. I want to make this video real quick to completely blow out of the water this new thing about from the Washington Post about Sally Yates, the former Attorney General, who was asked to testify or wants to testify. It's not very clear what's true and what's not. Washington Post wants to try to tout themselves as real news and truthful when in fact they are the founders of fake news as far as I'm concerned. We actually proved that in the past with shows that we've done on Sunday, completely exposing articles that they've written as completely fake. And I'm not going to do that here. I'm not going to go line by line in this article to show how it's fake. I need to kind of step back and give you a bigger picture. And the article that I am referring to is called White House Tried to Block Sally Yates from Testifying on Russia. This was also made into a Twitter moment, so you can imagine that this is exciting news for Democrats. Unfortunately, according to Spicer, he says that the article is entirely false. Unfortunately for the Democrats, he actually is correct. It's, for the most part, it's almost entirely false. And let me explain how. So let's go through the facts in the article. Yates has been asked to testify before the House Intelligence Committee this week. That is true, or at least I think it is, because the Washington Post actually posted the letter from her attorney to Donald Trump's attorney, pretty much stating that she agrees to the terms of the invitation, that she was invited, and that she agrees to testify, and she's willing to testify. So that seems to be true, unless the Washington Post has completely made up a letter and posted a fake letter. But I'm just going to give them that much benefit of the doubt and say that I'll give them that. And the Representative Nunes, who's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, canceled this hearing. And so it was the day after. They call it abruptly canceling it. I don't fault them necessarily because it was the next day, but I do find it interesting that they lead the reader to believe that it was canceled because of what the explosive claim that the Washington Post makes, which makes this entire article completely fake. And that is that Sally Yates and former CIA Director Brennan, who was also supposed to testify, made it clear that they would contradict some of the White House statements. And that entire statement is very questionable, and I'll explain why in a second. The actual title of the article is completely made up, and for the most part, inaccurate as hell. Trump administration sought to block Yates from testifying. That entire statement's made up. First of all, the Trump administration, there is no evidence whatsoever that the Trump administration had any input on whether or not that hearing should be canceled. And they wouldn't have authority to make Chairman Nunes do so. He is autonomous. He's in a different branch of government. It will be up to him or his aides or assistants or helpers or colleagues to decide whether or not to cancel that hearing. And so it kind of leaves the reader to believe that Trump kind of took him, off to the side and said, "Hey, Nunes, why don't you go ahead and cancel that?" And there's no evidence of that at all. They're just making it up, okay, at least at this point. And if you read the whole article, they never clear that up. They never say that we know that Trump had input. They suggest it with all kinds of very loose circumstantial evidence that I don't think deserves to be in a rag that tries to tout themselves as journalism. So Trump or his administration would not block Yates from testifying by canceling the hearing. So that's a completely made up statement. And that Yates and Brennan made it clear that they would contradict some of White House statements. Okay, let's look at the actual paragraph in the Washington Post where they make this statement. It says, Yates and another witness at the planned hearing which is former CIA Director John Brennan, made it clear to government officials by Thursday that their testimony would, to the committee, probably would contradict some of statements that White House officials had made, according to a person familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity. In addition, Ken Weinstein, a lawyer for Brennan, declined to comment. And by the way, Yates never said this publicly. They're going off of what they're calling a person familiar with the matter. First of all, are they sure he's that familiar with it? And second of all, who's to say that the Washington Post didn't just make it up and say that they got it from a source on the condition of anonymity? Now, at this point, based on this paragraph, we have to go by Washington Post credibility. We can only believe the conclusion of this article based on Washington Post credibility. That's it. There is no fact here that's been proven as far as what they're trying to conclude at all. And so, do we believe the Washington Post? Well, we proved back in November that when the Washington Post came out with an article, we weren't sure about the Washington Post. You know, they have a long history of news. They have a long history of real journalism. And so they have to prove that they're fake, really, in my mind. And they did that. Back in November 24th, they came out with the article, the explosive article, Russian propaganda effort helps spread fake news during election, experts say. And when you read this entire article, the November 24th article, which we did in its entirety on our show that week on Sunday, on our Sunday show, you will find that this is quintessential fake news. This is not the beginning of fake news, but this is when fake news just flew off the rails. And at that point, it has been proven pure propaganda ever since then. And this isn't just, it's not like, oh, Washington Post, they come out with all these factual articles and they came out with this one propaganda piece way back in November. This was just the big whopper. They've come out with lots of articles since then that have pretty much branded them fake news. So for them to come out with an article that concludes that the Trump administration sought to block Sally Yates, which, by the way, was Chairman Nunes who canceled the hearing. We don't know why he canceled the hearing. The article doesn't say why Nunes canceled the hearing. It also doesn't say that they have any proof at all or any kind of evidence that the Trump administration would have been behind Chairman Nunes canceling the hearing. And on top of that, we don't even know if Yates or Brennan made it clear to government officials that their testimony would probably contradict statements from the White House. There's no way I can trust the Washington Post on that and their anonymous sources. So please spread this video around, or at least spread the message and the points that I'm making here on the Washington Post article that prove once again that the Washington Post is completely fake. They're almost a parody of journalism. I would go so far. They've done that. They have made themselves a parody at this point. They are not much better than The Onion. Probably worse. At least I can laugh when I read The Onion. So, again, follow me at Smith Radio. That's at SMYTHRADIO. Don't forget that spelling. And please retweet this and share it if you find it on YouTube. All right.